All right, so we're taking a look at some of the projects that we've made with this Ender 3 and the Ender 5 and talk about some of the experiences and some of the modifications we've made and issues and troubleshooting along the way. All right, sorry about that weird start there, but I blame I'm gonna blame somebody. I don't know who to blame, but I'm blaming somebody. Evidently you can't run 1080p. You can only run 720. So we're running 720. Who cares, right? All right. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to be going over some fun stuff that you might want to buy, or if you don't want to buy it, maybe you'll want to chat about it. Some of it will be here in my hands, and some of it will be in our minds theoretically. So without any further ado-dos, let's jump in and see how it works, and let's see if we get clobbered or not tonight. Whoa, what's happening? Okay, so sorry about that. Got a weird bunch of noise there, but I think everything should be happening fine now. Let's go to the chat window and welcome everybody in. All right, so let's go ahead and get some stuff started here. I thought I had everything started, and then this thing gave me a fit start. Is that what you call it? So we're going to be talking about some things that are being shown up on the screen there. An electric dirt bike? What? A remote-controlled Jeep. And then we're going to look at some retro stuff, like this retro boombox. And the retro Polaroid camera, which are now running around. Pretty cool. And I'm opening up a window here so we can get some more stuff on the screen, like this Dell laptop. I guess what we could try out right away before further ado is to try to get this stuff up on the screen. Trying out different ways of doing this because there's lots of different ways of doing this. What happened? Got the wrong webcam set up. How about this webcam? There we go. So that's the Dell laptop that we're running the show on. Get rid of my toothpick there. Get rid of these SD cards. They don't need to be here. And I'll get rid of this microfiber cloth that I use to wipe off the screens. What do you use to wipe off your screens? And we'll put that over there. Get this thing chart a level. And we'll also be taking a look at this 30. Oh, I don't know what I'm allowed to look at over there. This 34-inch. Let's drag all this stuff down. This 34-inch widescreen monitor, which is pretty awesome for video editing. I imagine the gamers like them, but for video editing and stuff like that, they're pretty good. This is just the stream over here. I imagine we're probably allowed to show the stream. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. This is the Dell laptop here that we'll be talking about. Don't mind the 9 key. We'll have a conversation another time about what happened to that 9 key. But that's the monitor there. I would say of all the investments I've put into my computers lately, that monitor is a big one. Or it's a big bang for the buck. Is that the way to say it? Like, I'm pretty stoked about it. So what I'm going to do now is bring up this playlist. There we go. That's what I've been looking for. And once I can open up this, I'm hoping to find... Oh, I guess I got to contend with that, huh? So let's try to do this. And if I bring... Uh-oh, how am I doing this? Let's turn this back off again. And let's bring this up on the screen. Let's try pushing me over here. That'll work. That way I can bring this down here and open it up full screen. There we go. And we can try this again. So this is the monitor we just looked at here, except in a video form. All right, I'm checking out my new monitor. Let's go ahead and pull the cling off of here. This is a new 34-inch monitor. I'm going to be able to do video editing on here like never before. I had a 32-inch curved monitor before. This is a 34-inch flat monitor. Laptop vertical monitor. And then this way I can open up my video editing software, have access to huge previews, and then run everything with these other monitors as auxiliaries. That's why I bought it. Hope this helps. I'm really enjoying this new ultra widescreen 34-inch monitor. I use it with my Dell laptop here to do things like video editing, and this gives me the whole bottom of this giant monitor to run my scrub boards. I can view previews on things that are almost the size of my whole laptop screen, but along with all the other components of my video editing. It allows me to do regular text editing really well because I can put like 3 pages up next to each other, and then other types of computer work get done so much more efficiently with this huge 34-inch ultra wide monitor with my Dell piece laptop. Hope this helps. All right, and then we'll pull that down and get rid of it. Hopefully that works. And let's see if we can't try doing that for a couple more things here. But we do have comments, so if anybody wants to make a comment, please do. Feel free, I should say. And the next thing we'll take a look at then, I guess, is that electric dirt bike. So how cool would that be? Getting an electric dirt bike, 300 or 3,000 watts. I've seen people tool around on these. These move adults around. The neat part about them is they look like a dirt bike. They're the same size. I imagine they're probably similar weight just by the way people are working on them and stuff. But they're very quiet. And that's the part I'm anxious to find out about, how quiet they are when you drive around on them. So obviously you can't put one here on the screen, or I guess in front of the keyboard here. But that's the first thing we'll talk about tonight is that dirt bike. Another thing that's a little bit too big, actually 2 things that are too big for the screen, are the Hyper Go RC truck. And I have been having, I can't even tell you how much fun I've been having with that thing, because you can use it at night and it's not real loud. Again, being an electric situation instead of a gas powered or anything. Whoa. It is really fun to use at night with its lights. So let's see if I can't get this one over here over to, how do I do that? I did it like this before, didn't I? I don't know if I did it the same procedure or not, but I think it'll work. I'll bring this up a little bit, open this up full screen. This is when we took it out camping a couple weeks back. That's about how loud it is. So, I mean, it makes some noise, I guess. But I drive this thing around at night and nobody cares. Like, nobody can hear it and then get next yard over. I don't usually drive it around like a spaz like that. But it's all metal, so it's really dense and heavy. And it can zip all around. I used this when I first had it and I was figuring it out. I don't drive this fast anymore because mainly I don't want it to break or anything. And I have more fun just driving it at, like, I would call it scale speed, like at normal speed for the terrain. And basically it doesn't tip over then. I do hit some bumps and ramps and kind of jump it every once in a while. I'm playing with a remote control car here in the yard. So I'll hit some bumps and stuff, but I don't try to abuse the thing, in other words. But it's pretty rugged. I mean, it is designed to be thrown around, like to really be bounced around. But I'd rather, have it last me for a long, long time. So here in this video, what I did, you can't really tell because I don't talk about it in the video. But you see that strap on there? That's actually a camera that's designed to be put around a dog collar or a cat collar. And then it kind of dangles, like a dog collar would. And what you're looking at is, then they have a camera that points out at what the dog or cat is looking at. So what I did is I strapped it to the top of this roof of the Jeep, and the camera itself is hanging out just about in the spot where the driver would be. And the idea was to get some footage looking straight out the Jeep, as if you were a little action figure inside of there. And it came out pretty decent. So that's why the strap is on the roof. muted myself. What I'm trying to do is actually play over here. And this is me just driving around the yard, knocking into things, bumping over some bricks and sticks and things, because it can do a pretty good job of jumping all that. And it's probably some pretty good exercise because the battery lasts a good long time. You can just walk around driving with this thing in front of you.
This is a lot of fun.
So it's got backup lights, it's got turn signals, it's got headlights, and like say backup lights, I guess. So if you are driving it at night, you're not have to worry about, in my case, driving over some poop or something. But in the real life, you wouldn't want to like drive it into some kind of, I don't know, pile of grease or oil or something in a parking lot maybe, or just drive it over a cliff or something. So it is actually a lot of fun to drive around. They're on a pretty good sale right now, so definitely can recommend that. Cannot tell you how much fun that thing has been. Kind of bought it on a whim, and I am very glad I bought that particular one. It's heavy enough that it doesn't bounce all around when I drive it. And yeah, it's definitely in that area between toy and, I mean, I guess there's no such thing as a professional one, but it's pretty awesome. So let's go. We have the boom box to talk about and the Polaroid camera, but I don't really have those in front of me. So let's go back to the Dell, I guess. And I can just turn the camera back on for that. And we'll make the camera bigger, I guess. There we go. So that's the Dell. And this one I went with for a number of reasons. I really like having, I guess, I forget what these are. These are the Precisions that I know there's a couple of different like model styles or whatever with Dell, but with the keypad over here. Yeah, all keyboards have the numbers across the top, but I'm really looking for the numbers over here. I mean, I'm not an accountant or anything, but I use numbers enough that I want to be able to get to these numbers. And what these numbers really give you also is some of these other keys that you use less often, but you do use them. And I'd rather have these over here than kind of the weird mess that you get when it's kind of a proprietary whatever the company decides to put over here, and that's less consistent, I guess, than having the standard keypad over here. So that's one reason I go with this one. The other reason, I guess, let me mute here. I think this will mute everyone. Apologize if I didn't mute somebody there while I was coughing. And again, thanks to the hearts. I've seen a bunch of hearts coming across. We appreciate that. The other reason I like to have the keyboard over here on the laptops is because that gives me an opportunity to have a wider monitor. And yes, I have this ultra wide monitor right here that I think I'm allowed to show everything right there, and that I use for editing and stuff. But if I ever have to travel with just the laptop, I do use the laptop monitor. Normally it has stuff on it. It's just blank right now, but I want that to be as large as possible, so I don't mind having a wider keyboard. Otherwise, I bought this one because of the touch screen and the power that it has. It just has really good ports, and as you can see, we're not really going to talk about it in this video, but I have a lot of peripherals, I guess you could say. You know, I'm podcasting, so there's a mic and a camera on the boom here, and then there's speakers, and then there's hard drives, and then there's cameras and phones and things that you're going to plug into it. So having enough peripherals was a big deal. And I happen to be using a dock, I guess, a Dell dock over here. We don't have it listed, but that gives me capability with this laptop. And that's another reason I went with the Inspirations. Let's see, Windows 11, so it's going to be forward compatible for a while. They're not getting rid of Windows 11, like, anytime soon. And Windows Pro, so I like to get the Pro version of Windows right away. And mainly because I can't even remember anymore what they locked down on the non-Pro side, but it's just, I think most of the time you end up getting Pro. And then again, the monitor over here, and I guess I'll try to move this stuff way over. I'm not sure what we're supposed to show as far as behind the scenes, but obviously I have some other stuff happening on this monitor that I've moved way over to the corner here. that you can't even see. But this monitor is massive. And the reason I like the 34, I had a 32 before, and it came up to about here. And it doesn't seem like that big a difference. I mean, I guess the math or whatever, there is quite a bit more square inches. But what it really means is just that I can launch or I can show on the screen a complete website or a complete page without having to scroll. That other one was an ultra wide monitor, but it was just so narrow, I guess, or not tall enough that it was frustrating that I always had to clip at the bottom. So I guess I'm saying if you have never had an ultra wide, it's worth getting an ultra wide for sure. And if you are thinking about what size ultra wide to get, I would say the 34 rather than like the 32 or the 28s or something. I have no idea what they equate to in video games because I don't really do that. But for video editing, the ultra wide is amazing. And then for the height, I think the 34 is the way to go. And really, I'm showing it on the screen on the Amazon side. I got it for under $2, and now it's less than that. So it is definitely the best investment I've put in a while. One, it gets so I don't even have to think about squinting or concentrating on any of that video editing I'm doing. But it's also just fun to have all this stuff effortlessly, like vision wise, effortlessly in front of me. And I can put so much of it on the screen. It's like having a wall of computer screen, and it's really nice. So I would say if you're going to gift somebody something under $200, I don't think I don't think anybody would get that as a gift and be disappointed. Let's see, there we go. So that's the computer stuff. We got the playlist over here. I've got everything comes up in a different order. I guess technically it's my fault because I had not paid attention to the order that I posted the things in, but I apologize because it might seem a little fractured here as I try to figure out which thing to click next, because I have to kind of click things with my one hand on the phone and then bring things up on the screen with my other hand on the mouse. And it's actually a bit of I don't know what to call that, like a puzzle. So I think the next thing we'll talk about is this watch. And I've got it up on the screen on Amazon. I'll bring it up on I guess I'll just go right back to the thing and the screen here. Ignore all that, I guess. We're going to be taking a look at the watch. I've got it charging right now. So this is a nice one. It's from Suyi. And it's a smartwatch, meaning the screen is it's like a TV screen. It's got 4 buttons. I think, 4 buttons and 3 buttons on this one. And that lets you know a couple of things. How complicated it's going to be and how its like interface is going to work. So this one, the top right button is to get you into all of its different apps. And we can see all the different kind of stuff this can do. Keep in mind, this is right now sub $100 watch. So by clicking this button up here, I go kind of toggle back and forth between the screen, and then whatever we're going to call like the apps, I guess is what they call it. I don't do a lot of the smartwatch stuff as much as I don't do anywhere near as much as the stuff can do or the watch can do. I usually end up using it like a calculator watch back in the day. I use it as a calculator once in a while. I'll use it occasionally as a stopwatch. I definitely use the alarm. Clock all the time. The calculator, the timer every once in a while. But the thing is, these also have like a GPS in them. So you can use like the compass and the altimeter, right? Some of them have maps. I don't think this one has a map. So they've got that kind of feature to them. But then on this side, they always have these like eyeballs that are looking into your skin, and they're going to test your blood and see your heart rate so they can monitor the movement of the watch and the lack of movement. So like when you're asleep, when you're sitting there, they can give you reminders. They're really good as like to keep you up and moving and to keep you active, and then to monitor things like about your physiology or your actions and your movements and that kind of thing. Of course, you can turn all that off if you don't want to use all that, but it's all in here for a sub $100. That's what's neat. Now it can also command other things like a Bluetooth device, so it can like be a button for your clock. What am I trying to say? Be the button for your camera on your phone or something. It can also be like you can do the phone through it, I suppose, that kind of thing. So it can be an accessory to some of your other devices, and then like your other device or an app or something can have a calendar on it, and then this thing can access it. So it's sort of like an accessory for some of your other devices. Now, what's neat about the most smartwatches, and this one included again, and this one's in the sub 100 right now, and these are the features that are on even the fanciest ones. We went through this button, right, which is like all the apps, but now to get into like portions of them so that you're not having to scroll through everything all the time. Basically, whenever you scroll down on this one, you get to this menu. And if I scroll back up, it's sort of like, imagine me pulling down a shade and I'm pushing it back up again. Now, if I pull up, I'm getting a different one, and I push that back down. So one of them you pull up and push back down, and one of them you pull down and push back up, right? Same thing this way. And then same thing this way. But this one is the same as pushing this button. This button is basically backwards. So if you dug into one of these, like, oh, I want to get into my heart rate, right? And then this is to kind of back out. Like, I want to be back out of there. Let's see, I could get into so many things. So these things are pretty elaborate as far as what they can do. But at the same time, I'm pretty impressed with how quickly, like, let's say, for example, this way, I don't have it set up to be connected to my phone or my emails or anything. But if I wanted those kind of notifications coming to me on my watch, I could leave my phone somewhere. I could just be around my computer, and then the watch is going to tell me about all that stuff, right? That could be just that fast. So even though the watch has all this depth to it, it's kind of quick to get to that. This stuff is mostly like your flashlight, your settings. Like I want the watch to be dim. I'm going in to watch a movie or something, or like I want to make a phone call, right? Like you're just kind of your toolbox or something. It's also going to tell you really fast how much battery power is left on the watch. Now, I started this show about 24 minutes ago, and this was 0 battery. I haven't been wearing this watch in a while, so it went to 0 battery. So in the 24 minutes, where'd it go? In the 24 minutes, it went to whatever it was, 29% battery. That's pretty decent. Like it charges pretty quick. I guess I'll take a second. It's a USB cable with these 2 little magnets, and underneath of everything back there, there's those 2 little dots, and these 2 little prongs touch those 2 little dots. I think it comes in this way, and it just magnetizes on there. And now you get your charging indicator here. Oops, it fell off. Now you get your charging indicator there. I'll pull it back off. It's just on with these like kind of medium power magnets. It's not so much magnets that it's going to knock everything off your table if it starts to move, but it's enough that I can wiggle it and it's still connected. I don't know. There's no perfect way of doing it, but that's a way of doing it, or that's the way they do it. Let's see. So let's get back out of there. You can change the watch face. Let's see. How am I going to change the watch face? We're going to come in to here. We're going to go down to settings, probably. Is it all the way at the bottom? I'm pretty sure I can adjust the order and which ones I even want in here. So let's say I'm never going to do waterboarding or mud wrestling or something. I could take those out of the sports so that I don't have to, I can kind of check them. I just have this on the default right now. So I think by default, it's showing you all these different things: women's health, flashlight, being the shutter for a phone, camera, stopwatch, the notifications. But then it's going to get into all the other stuff that I was talking about there, like the daily activity, workout records, heart rate. Like if you don't want it to do some of that stuff, you can kind of go into one of the settings and uncheck those boxes. Anyway, I'm going to go into settings here, and then change watch face is actually the first one. And I don't have to do anything other than decide to go in to change these. And look at how many ways I can make this watch look. So I'm scrolling through different faces that this watch can be. I think this is the one it was on before, right? So that one's goofy, but let's go to this one. So now it's going to look like an old-fashioned, what is that, like a grandfather clock or something. And if we want to change that again, we just remember where that setting was and go in. Now here's the thing. Oops. Here's the thing. This is the watch faces that come with it. And they're kind of designed for like sports or driving or the office. Like they've kind of got some like default kind of modes, you could say. But then there's an app that goes along with this thing. And that's by design. It did that intentionally, is to save battery, and so that it's not on your wrist constantly on. It'll go to sleep basically. And you can change in the settings how fast you want it to go to sleep and like when you want it to come to sleep. This is whether or not it's going to wake up when you lift your arm or not. And you can turn that on and off, because sometimes when you're driving, your arm keeps coming up every 5 seconds as you're turning corners, and it can get annoying. It's that fast. Flip it, turn it off, and it's just going to stay off. And now you're doing your thing. When you get back to where you notice that your watch isn't flipping back on, you can make that adjustment that quick. So again, they have a lot of depth to them. They've got a lot of capacity. I guess I was saying that they hook up to your app on your phone, I guess on your computer, and then you can download tons and tons of different watch faces and even more apps and stuff. There might be games. I don't know about something like that. That's a good question. Thanks for asking, but I just don't know. That might be something they have. But basically, I'm really impressed with this one. When I first got this one, I was impressed with the look, because I was looking for one. I have another watch that has this metal type of band. Is this like an aluminum? I don't know what you call this kind of band. There's probably a name for it. I had another one that was like this, but then it was a thinner watch, and I ended up putting a fabric band on it. But I liked the band, and it didn't fit any other watches. So when I saw this one, which was more of, I call like the military size, military face, with this band, I was like, oh yeah, I want to try this one out. Because again, this was under $100 right now. So I'm just impressed of all the features it has and how capable it is. Sometimes they say they have all these features, but they kind of are crude. I mean, there's nothing crude about this. At least if it is, I'm, impressed with it all. But it has so many of these features, and it's so capable, even though I don't use all of them. I just thought it was worth, I guess, having a spare watch, let's say, an extra watch for when I want to wear this band. In other words, I don't have to take the band off of that other watch and replace it. I got this watch so that I can, when I want to wear this kind of band. And I guess it's more of a style thing than anything else. But again, this is an under 100 right now. I think normally it's like 1 something. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say about prices on here, so I'm going to be vague. But anyway, like I'm saying, this isn't, even though it seems like it's got a lot of features in it, it isn't like once you're buying one watch type of thing. This is a great gift, I think, for someone who's interested and maybe hasn't buttoned the bullet on a smartwatch yet, or a great first smartwatch for sure. Or definitely if you've already had a few of them, like I think I have 5 of them now. But again, I'm in that place where the one I have that has this band, I didn't really feel like swapping the band back and forth all the time. This had the top, the guts that are the main watch part that I'm looking for. And I think it does come with a rubber band, or standard band with a buckle, in other words. But this was what I was looking for. I left this one on here. Actually, I think it comes with the other one. I had to put this one on here if I'm really remembering right. But if you're interested in that, we have videos over there that will of this watch when I first got it, and they may have some more insight as to what band it came with. So my phone went off already. Let's see if we're still live. All right, so after the watch, we're going to take a look at this cigarette lighter. I guess I could have just left the camera going. I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point here. Getting a good cadence to a live show is something that takes practice. So appreciate the people that are joining us to watch live. So this is, do I have too much light? It's a rarity. Try moving the light down a little bit. This is what you would call, they call it a 3X car charger extension. I'm going to call it an 8-to-1 myself. Tell me if I'm wrong. So it's pretty well made. Izugimo or something is the way that's called. I was looking for a couple of things. I wanted an extension to the 12-volt plugs, or the cigarette lighter plugs that we used to call it. So in other words, I wanted to have one turn into at least more than one. 3 would be ideal. 4 would have been great, but that would also become a larger object. And I don't know if I wanted 4 necessarily, but 2 at least. This one has 3, so I'm okay with that. But then I really didn't want to lose the outlet. And this one has the USB-C right there. So when you plug this guy into your dashboard or your auxiliary port or whatever kind of thing you got in your vehicle, even in an RV, it really doesn't matter. It's always annoying when you lose the plug. To get an extension is great, but then now the extension is somewhere else, and you might have needed something there where the plug is, and this gives you that USB-C. So that was number one on my list. I guess always on my list is I want something that's decent, and I think you can get an idea from the video, the quality of this. Like, this is decent plastic. It's goes through quality control. It actually fits together nicely. It's not loose at all. It's all that level that you would expect from like a a name brand, somebody whose quality is important to their longevity of their company. Like, it's a decent build quality. Like I said, it has not lost anything at the plug in there. Next, it has long enough cord that this thing isn't dangling off of your dashboard. Like, this can be laying on your floor of your car. I mean, that's maybe not ideal. Maybe it is for what your circumstances are, but this is long enough to maybe fit into the middle section of your dash or something. So I figure having more cord is better than less cord for me. So I like that concept. And again, a good cord, good connectors. Then I like the idea that it has these buttons, power buttons for each of these outlets. I don't know if that's a necessary thing. It's not like too many things are going to fall in here, but back in the day, like, you'd be worried about like a nickel or something falling in there because you'd have all your toll change near the cigarette lighter. But whatever, you can plug something in like a fan. You could plug something in like a reading lamp, plug something in. Right now you can push this button. You have this on all the time, but now you push this button and the reading lamp goes on. Push this button and the fan goes on. Right, so that is why I figure having these buttons is better than not having them. Well, let's see if it's an 8-in-1 or not. You plug this in, right away you get 1, then 2, 3, 4. That's pretty easy. But then we got 5, 6 USBs, 7 USBs. Those are USB-A, 2.4 amps. And then 8 is another USB-C. So there's that USB-C over here, USB-C over here. Now, if you follow the codes, there looks like to me like a white, a black, and a blue. A white would be USB-A from the old days, and then USB or black would be USB 3, if I'm right. And then USB blue would be always on USB 3, so 5 volts or whatever. So I'm not sure if they paying attention to their USB colors, but they don't. That's not the kind of thing they tell you in the descriptions. But I thought that was interesting that each of the USBs is a different color. Anyway, then the other neat part about this is that it has these adhesive strips from 3M, right, that are going to adhere this to pretty much any surface in your vehicle and your side lump, or like inside your console or something, maybe inside your glove box. There's enough cord for that. But the thing is, if you don't want this to be permanent, like let's say when you go on a road trip, you want to be able to plug in your CB and that travel light and the hair dryer or whatever it is. But the rest of the time, you don't need all that plugged in, right? So with this system, with this setup, you can put this together, plug this thing in, still have your USB-C, and then when you don't need it, take this away, put it in the back of the vehicle. This stays adhered to wherever it is so that it's where you need it. And then whenever you need it again, you just plug this back in, you're good to go. And I thought that was pretty handy. So all those reasons, I bought this guy. Now, I was hoping that if I would plug it into this one and turn it on, then that would provide power and I would be able to scab power to these two plugs. Turns out, for some reason, that doesn't work. But, did I mention this is a power button? So even when this is plugged in, and regardless of what stage these buttons are on, you can override the whole thing from here. Now, like I say, I'm not sure when you override the whole thing. This should mean, if it's correct USBs, that should mean that even when this is turned off, this should still be hot. I haven't tested that, but that would be interesting to find out. All right. So again, thanks to the people asking questions. I think it's just a carbon fiber look on here. I don't believe they've gone to the expense of making carbon fiber for the top, but I could be wrong. It does have some texture to it. But It's not, I think they just call it a carbon fiber color. I don't know if they make more than one color of this guy. For what it's worth, it shows up in a silicone bag inside of a cardboard box. And I'm a big fan of that kind of packaging, where they're not wasting a bunch of plastic and garbage, you know, just to get it over here. So that's the what do you call that? Like a 12-volt power extension. Next, we're going to take a look at a KVM switch coming from the vehicle to the home. And I'm trying not to spill this thing of peanuts. I'm going to put it over here. Maybe it won't spill. Anybody got any shelled peanuts? I have half a bowl of shelled peanuts. I'm trying not to spill. So KVM, a keyboard, mouse, and video. Keyboard, video, and mouse. And oh, did I forget to put the link over here? I'm going to try putting the link over here. So a KVM switch is a keyboard, video, and mouse. And the idea is, like here on my desk, I have a laptop and a monitor over here. And then I have a mouse, right? I'm using this type of mouse, a wireless vertical mouse. Is that what they call this? And then, well, my keyboard is in my laptop, I guess. But let's say this was a keyboard for my computer, my tower computer or something. I had my mouse, I have my keyboard, I have my monitor. But now I'm going to have another computer. Maybe you work at home and you need a computer for that, or one computer is for work and one computer is for, you know, playing around and having fun playing video games or something. Or one of them is your high-end video game system and the other one is your other computer that you don't waste. You know, you probably want to keep your high-end video games on their own fancy computer. So what you do is you have your two computers, and then you have the wires from those two computers coming into here, I guess on this side. Now, out the other side, you have your wires coming to your one keyboard, your one mouse, and your one monitor. So now you've got this one monitor and mouse that can work with two different computers. And then in the box here, there's like a little switch. It's actually kind of cool. I'll grab it right here. This little rubber switch. Can I unplug it? I don't really know. I guess just because you're going to spill coffee on it and they know that. I'm dying. I guess they just know you're going to spill coffee on it at some point. So it's like a rubber switch. Maybe it's so that you can like put it like under something. I have no idea why they make it rubber, but you have this little switch. Everything else, all the rest of these cords that they give you to set this all up, can all be behind your desk, basically, you know, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, you know, just out of your way, so you're not dealing with them on the desk. And it's about as best as I can do is get them off the side of my laptop. But anyway, all this stuff can be kind of back there, and then you have that little rubber switch coming up, and now you click that switch, and it's one computer. You click the switch, and it's the other computer, and it just toggles back and forth between the two computers. Otherwise, I think there's a switch right here. So if you did want to have this somewhere up close, you could use this as a switch as well. Anyway, these are handy little units that allow you to have basically less stuff on your counter, less stuff on your desk. They let you have one keyboard, one mouse, and one video monitor for two computers. And back in the day, we did this all the time. We'd have to do this. And as a computer tech, we use these things all the time. None of my old ones are worth a darn anymore because they're not HDMI. That's the other thing about this one, is it's HDMI. So, you know, with your fancy monitors like this and, you know, your decent resolutions and all that, you have a switch that can do all that for you. Now we're talking gift ideas, and I'll go back to this screen, I think, and then that means this screen, and then I'll turn this off. And if we're talking gift ideas, you know, some gift ideas are fun and some gift ideas are more practical. So I think this next one is going to count as a more practical one. And I think I figured out a good way to get into it. I certainly can't stop that from happening every time though, can I? So let's see if I click on this. Is that how I got bigger? Yeah. And now I can bring this over. And this I found and I bought for my sister, and made the video before I sent it to
So
her.
I've been looking around at fire escape ladders for a second
And let's open this up.
story. They make them for 3 stories. So I've been looking around at fire escape ladders for a second story. They make them for 3 stories as well, but for a second story, figured a 13-foot is the way to go. This one from House, I really decided this is the way to go for a number of reasons. One, it can be deployed from this bag, so it doesn't have to be permanently mounted anywhere. When it comes out, it's pretty simple and straightforward, and that's important because you're going to be using this, in an emergency. Pull it out of the bag, and I could do that a lot quicker if I wasn't taking my time here. And of course, if you wanted to, you could have this staged and ready to go. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But as you can see, it's expandable or extendable. Everything is ready to go. It's attached and good to go. So these go onto your door, or onto your windowsill. They open up and then they expand and they lock into place. It has the arrows to let you know which is the outside. Now everything is ready to go. And you've got the stairs, which are aluminum, which I think is a big deal. Instead of having anything like rope or rods, these are nice, easy to climb on aluminum. They're going to drop down. They can each hold 450 kilograms, and this is flexible yet strong. So because it's so easy to deploy, it doesn't need to be attached to the window permanently. It'll adjust to any window. It's portable, and then it has the aluminum rungs, heavy-duty aluminum rungs. Hope this helps.
We have a 2-story home, and I wanted to make sure that I had a way to get either myself or my kids out of the house in case of an
So let me
emergency.
close
So I
this
grabbed
because
this
that's
Haas
not good.
ladder. This is supposed to be a one.
There we go. So trying to text and talk at the same time. So as you can see, that's a ladder that's designed to then hang out the window and let you get out of a second floor. And pretty nice for the considering way less than 100, and gives you that peace of mind for somebody who might be upstairs, and maybe somebody like the Giz. I think you could get one of those for a 3-story place as well. And then you never know, use it the other way for a fort or something. It might be kind of neat. So the next thing we'll take a look at is flip this up, getting back to the live stream. Let's not forget that we've got that electric dirt bike up there, and I think that's be a gift that I can't imagine being dissatisfied with an electric dirt bike at any age. I think you could get that for literally anybody, and they would appreciate the ability to tool around out in the desert, out in the woods, up in the mountains, down by the ocean, wherever it is you happen to live, with such quietness, right? With such abilities, with such ease. So then we talked about the RC truck or the RC Jeep a little bit. And next, let's talk about that boombox. So I have a couple of retro things on the list here. And yeah, I think that worked. That opened it up in a new window. Yeah, okay. Again, I'm kind of getting used to the... that's too loud. Getting used to the setup over here, and it is not as easy as we make it look sometimes. So I think I've got it figured out, and we'll take a look at this really cool boombox that's Bluetooth. And
found out they came out with these retro boombox wireless speakers. I knew I needed to check one out. This is the box that it shows up in. Let's check it out. Let me pull it out of the box for us here.
It's 80 off.
This is so cool. This is telling us here that the power cord is going to be in the battery compartment, so we're not looking for it. Here it comes out of the box. Start.
A lot of times you see these things and they are tiny, right? They look like a boombox. They've got some of the buttons and maybe some speakers or something, but they're like a half size, a third size. This one, when I seen it, I was like, heck yeah. And then in the yellow, or they have 3 different colors, like a black, a silver, which is probably period accurate, but then they had this yellow, and I was like, I do remember having some weird ones. Not weird, but like ones coming from International that were different colors. Most of the ones we saw here from like the Sony and the other companies that were like the major companies were silver color, like gray color for whatever reason. But when I seen this one in the yellow, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting the yellow. Okay, let's go back to it. Pulling it out of the box here. It's actually packaged really well. In fact, I don't put the bag back on it, but I put those styrofoam things back on it, and I put it in the box to store it. It's big, so I want to, put it in a closet or something when I'm not using it, and I want it to get all dusty and stuff, but I also don't want stuff smashing into it. Like, it's not going anywhere, but I don't want something falling into it. So I keep it in the styrofoam in the box, and it's a cardboard box. It's not like they're wasting a bunch of plastic or anything. But anyway, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but I find it cool when companies give you something like that that's essentially useful and not just garbage packaging.
Phone on the sides, and it's in awesome shape. Now, of course, it does come in a couple of colors. Let's go ahead and get it out of the bag here. Whoa, that is nice.
It's big.
As someone who grew up in the 70s and 80s, this not only brings back memories, but I could not wait to play with this. We've got the handle, and that is quality. We've got an antenna back here for the radio.
That's important because these things are big, and if you got a cheap little like handle just for show, then they break off or they just don't work. And this one has a decent handle that is going to carry this thing around. It's AWA, like that's a real company. They're proud of their stuff.
Sides like you'd expect from your boombox. Kind of settings here. Oh, that's your selectors. Got open and close for the, there's a piece of tape on the CD player, makes sense. And a little card in there protecting the laser heads. But we've got a CD player. We've got a cassette player. How cool is that?
When's the last time you seen a cassette player? I got CD players still. Like, they still make CD players. You see them at stores every once in a while. And I guess I understand because there's so many CDs out there. And there used to be a lot of cassette tapes out there, but you do not see that many cassette tapes. And the fact that they stuck a real cassette player into this boombox is pretty sweet. I'm kind of back and forth on the CD. Like, okay, CDs are fine. They used to skip in the old ones, so that's why I'm skeptical. I'm assuming it's not going to skip like the old ones. And this one's big enough that it wouldn't have skipped either, unless you're walking with it. But I guess the reason I'm saying that is because I would have been just as interested if they did a dual cassette, because the dual cassette boombox is sort of the thing, But okay, let it keep going here. Oh, wrong button.
Got the modern stuff, your Bluetooth and your USB. You can plug in mics to it. You've got a bunch of different adjustments. Oh yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for nostalgia, if you're looking for some character on your Bluetooth speakers, this is the way to go. I want to thank them for sending us this one to check out. It does come with a nice instruction booklet here. And I went with the yellow. Like I say, you can get it in a couple of different colors. Hope this helps.
Whoa, it disappears on me. So yeah, very cool, very sweet. And yeah, we've taken it camping. Thing is, I don't want to be annoying when we go camping, so I don't always bring it. But when we go out in the middle of nowhere, we bring it, and it's loud. It's good. The other retro thing we're going to take a look at is something, again, I bought as a whim, or bought on a whim, I guess. And come on, I was super surprised with it. Back in the day, I used to have,
as a photographer and content.
Oh, come on. Back in the day, I used to have a Polaroid. So I knew about these, and I knew that they had come out again. But because they're little, I wasn't sure if I was interested. So let me bring it back up on the screen here before we get to the video and jump back. So these are the size of them. Remember the size, basically they really are 1/4 the size of the old ones. So if you think about it, this is the size of the old ones. Like that would have been the size of one old Instamatic or Instagram Polaroid picture back in the day. But these are Polaroid. They've just made them 1/4 size. And at first I was like, but then when I saw the camera, so basically I wasn't even interested. I wasn't shopping for one. And then I seen it sitting there. The price was right. And I held it, like I put it in my hand, and I was like, oh, this is tiny. And I never thought about, oh, the pictures are smaller. The camera is going to be smaller. So anyway, obviously I bought one, and the film, and it's about $1, $2 a picture. It's not, if you're investing in these, you're not going to necessarily, you never could just sit there taking these things. Back in the day, people forget, we had to be a lot more selective with our pictures. Until the days of those throwaway cameras, like we were pretty selective. So this is the same, but I was able to get some pictures of the pup, having some fun there, and playing with the quality. I forgot, from the TVs and the stuff, people shake them all the time. You're really not supposed to shake them. So you can kind of tell from this series that, like, the first one I took here, I think it was probably this one. I took it and I started shaking it right away, and you can kind of tell it got goofy, and it's, I don't know if it's going to come up in the camera very well, but a little bit of blue to it. Got the hiccups, a little bit of blue to it, a little bit of goofiness to the development, I guess, of it, because this literally develops inside the cards here. And the first one I did that, and then I read the instructions, and it actually says on there, like in big type, do not shake them. That's not the thing to do. So I quit shaking them. But the other thing is, when you take them, you want to put them face down right away. There's actually a thing on the camera. The camera's over there. When it comes out, there's like a little shade, little curly thing that happens, and you're supposed to leave it there for a bit, which is like its initial, I just got stuck out of the camera and there's this shade in front of me, leave that there. And when you leave that there, it gets that initial, gives it some time so that it gets out of that initial shock when it's vulnerable to that shock. Maybe that's the way to say, like, it lets it get through that time. And that's the ones where this one's probably the best quality with color and consistency of the development. Now, as far as focus, and like this one's a little blurry, that's a whole different thing. These are instant cameras. So all of those things give it a characteristic look, color, and focus that the filters on phones try to emulate these days, right? And this is where Instagram came from. The idea that people would take a Polaroid picture when they were doing things because you would not need to get it developed, right? And then you would write on here, I took this so-and-so. I took this when we were on a trip. This is so-and-so acting funny on Halloween or whatever. And that was essentially Instagram. Take a picture, make a little note on it, and then share it. And then they figured out that, that it caught on as an app or whatever. So anyway, all these years later, having an Instagram or a Polaroid camera to play with is a lot of fun. So let's bring that back up onto the screen here.
And creator, I'm a big fan of cameras, and I've always had Polaroid cameras.
Whoops.
And I've always had Instamatic Polaroid cameras, but now I have the Go. So this is their small format. So the camera, or I should say the film, will come out about this size, about a quarter the size of a standard Instamatic, the eye size, I think they call it, the eye scale. So this guy's a little, and they come in a bunch of different colors. They're basically the same as your standard Polaroid Instamatic. You're going to put your film in. It's going to come out the kind of mouth there. You're going to charge this one for the flash. I guess that's pretty neat. You do have an eyepiece here to get an idea of what you're going to be getting your picture of. And you've got a button here that when you turn it on, it'll tell you how much charge you have for how many flashes. Looks really neat. Comes with a little lanyard. That's why I bought it. Hope this helps. The little Polaroid GO camera is charging right now. As you can see, it has USB-C on the side. When you have it charged up, it'll let you know how many flashes you have left. You can turn on and off your flash with that little button. It's just like any other little Instamatic camera. It takes film pictures, instantly developed. It's the same kind of form factor as the original, but it's about 1/4 the size. So it fits in the palm of your hand. It's got a little lanyard. You can fit it in a pocket. They make little pouches for it. It's from Polaroid. It's the Instant Go camera. Hope this helps.
So again, those are a lot of fun. They're kind of a modern retro.
That's why I bought mine.
And I would highly recommend it. It is a lot of fun. At first, like I said, I didn't really intend to buy it. It was one of those things where the price was right. they're not, they're not giving them away, but they're under 100, so it's not like it's a fortune or anything, but it's not, I think it's outside the realm of a toy. It's a toy or it's a gift for like probably somebody who's responsible enough to not break it. I wouldn't give it to a young kid or something. All right, so let's see the next thing. I'm trying to keep track of I've completely lost the order that we set them up on, but I'm also trying to keep track of where these things are, which ones I have here in front of me, and which ones we're jumping over like this to take a look at. And it keeps coming up with all of that. So with this one, I don't have readily available one of my videos, or maybe am I gonna? Let's find out. But the next thing we're going to talk about is the fire blankets, and I could just go grab one of my fire blankets. I guess they are all over the place, but I don't know if I have the Prepared Hero one, so we'll just talk about the Prepared Hero fire blanket that's on the Amazon screen right now. And these are fiberglass. They're like Kevlar fiberglass blankets, literally soft fabric inside of a nylon like pouch that you'd put a windbreaker in, or you'd get in. They're about the size of an MRE, and they have a nylon flap kind of strappy thing hanging out the bottom. You have a grommet at the top, so you can hang it on like a nail or a hook, or staple it, or just have it attached to something, tie it to something with a zip tie or with a piece of string or something, and you just have it hanging near where you might need it if there might be a fire. And if a fire happens, you grab the two nylon things, those little strappy dealies hanging out, and those become sort of like handles, and it kind of unfolds as it falls out the bottom of this nylon bag, and you have a Kevlar fiberglass blanket in your hands. And it's, I don't know, they kind of depend on the most of them are, do they say the size on them? They're 2 foot by 2 foot or something like that, and they're large enough to smother a fire. And a fire needs three things. We all know that a fire needs temperature, it needs fuel, and it needs oxygen. So a match or any kind of piece of wood needs the wood, and then it needs to be at the temperature of a fire, and then it needs oxygen. So some fire extinguishers remove the oxygen, and then some things remove the temperature, like water attempts to remove the temperature, and then you really can't remove the material, the thing that's burning. So the blanket, though, accomplishes getting rid of the temperature and the oxygen without adding something like water or the foam or some kind of powder or something that's messy. So the fire is always going to be a mess, but the blankets not only put the fire out and put it out quietly, but they're not going to make more additional mess in the chaos. And that's, I think, one of the neatest innovations we've had in a while. So I buy those things in the 4-pack and then gift them. So you only probably need 2, maybe 3 at your house, depending on how big your house is, what you got going on. You probably want one in the kitchen. You might want one in the garage. You might want one if you got like a barbecue area or something like that. And then maybe you got a hobby where you got a kiln, or I don't know, like you're melting lead or something. Like you got something else going on where you might just think you might need one. Maybe you got a portable heater somewhere and you think it's a good idea to have one in that room. So get a 4-pack. You might need 2 or 3 of them, but more than likely you're going to need a couple, and then you'll have a couple to gift to people, and they'll go, yeah, thanks for giving me a practical gift. But I'll tell you what, fire extinguishers, that emergency ladder, these fire blankets, that's some of the neatest stuff we've had. I don't know if those are from space, or if those are from some kind of battle, or if those are from a hospital, or where they come from. I don't know the origins of them, but I know that they're fairly recent, and I think they're one of the neatest things. So anyway, a 4-pack of those is usually around, I don't know if we're supposed to talk about prices, but it's not going to break the bank. And they are on sale, so check them out. Let's see, we got some travel items in the mix, and the travel items I put in here, there's so many things that you can use for travel, but one thing that I get annoyed about is traveling is shaving. And I guess everybody's different, but for me, I don't really think about shaving too much. It's not like I'm enthusiast for shaving. You know, you shave when you need to, kind of thing, or shave when it's so that it's not annoying or something. But so in other words, I'm comfortable with different types of shavers, but on the road, it can just be annoying. Dang it. It can just be annoying to remember to bring whatever blades or the charger and all that.
I'm out traveling, and
when I found this guy who's little and USB rechargeable, I'm done. Like that's what I was looking for.
Thinking about buying some razor blades, but I decided to go with this little electric shaver. Reason I went with this is it recharges with USB-C. I'm going to just leave this in the vehicle. They make it in a couple of different colors. There's just the one button, on and off. Very comfortable shave blades or heads. So for just doing that touch-up, you know, like while you're on your way to an appointment or something.
Like you forgot to shave and you just need to get rid of that shadow.
You forget to shave. I think this thing, I just went ahead and shaved a little bit. I think this thing is going to work great. It's easy to clean. Just take the top off, knock it out. This part is magnetic, so it's not going anywhere and you're not going to wear out a clip. It's just so handy and so small. I'm thinking this is going to be my new shaver.
So what I like about it is, again, I just leave it in the vehicle. I've got it if I need it on a local trip, but then when I'm out traveling, it's just one less thing I got to drag along in the travel kit. So I leave it in the glove box, essentially. You know, in the van, it's kind of a,
this helps.
What do you call it when it's in a van? It's kind of like a joint. It's kind of between the two people sitting up front. So it's not really a glove box, but whatever it is. All right. So that was one of my travel things. And the other travel thing, I mean, I cannot be more enthusiastic about. I don't even know how many. Welcome. Man, would that thing be louder every time I click into it? Uh-oh. We're not going to be without a video on this one, are we? And the way I'm doing this is, you know, there's a million ways to set this up. And I thought I was being clever by doing it this way. And I'm finding out that every once in a while it's clever on some videos, it is not clever on all these videos. So that's annoying. I don't have a video for these, but I think I'm just allowed to show you the thing. So what these are, I guess they call them luggage packaging cubes. So they're compression cubes, they're packaging cubes. Here's what it looks like when you've got them in a piece of luggage, which I guess, you know, use them for luggage all you want. I don't use them for luggage. I just use them as organizing cubes, like period. That's it. I just use them as organizing cubes. They're just a really nice material. They kind of got like a mix between a mesh and I guess like a nylon windbreaker material, really. It's like a Gore-Tex almost. So it's a lightweight material, but it's very strong. And they're designed to be full of stuff and then smushed into a luggage. So they just, you know, they're very, they're abuse tolerant. So I have things like crafting materials in them. I have one of them full of playing cards. So just different types of decks of playing cards. And those are getting heavy, you know, think about how much weight that is, and no problem for these. They're cubical or whatever you want to call, like squarish. So they stack. And that's the other thing is, even though they're fabric, unlike, you know, having like 3 or 4 fanny packs that you've got full of gear, or like think about if you put your first aid gear in here, or if you put in stuff for going for food, for camping or something like that, where you might put it in a backpack, but you might also just be putting it in like a plastic bin. Maybe you're going to put it into a cardboard box or something. So like, you know, you're going to put utensils or coffee stuff, so many things. Like, so I'm just thinking of places where you're going to need drawers, or where drawers might be ideal, or where like shoe boxes might be a good size. But because of what you're doing, shoe boxes or drawers are just out of the question. And that's where these come in. And they're very inexpensive. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about prices, but obviously everything's on sale now. And if I had my videos, you'd see I'm using them for radios. I'm using them mostly for just gear, right? But I suppose if I was traveling more. Now, when I was traveling, what I did with them also is I brought an entire set. Usually you buy them like in a set of 10 or 8 or something, like, because they're designed to fill your suitcases, I guess, or maybe 2 sets of suitcase, maybe all your suitcases if you have like a 3 set. So they give you like 10 of these things. And I ended up going through 2 or 3 of them and then wishing I had more. And then every time I see them now, I grab them when I see them on sale, or at a great price. But what I did when I went traveling in August is I brought a complete empty set. And then as I drove around getting souvenirs and like acquiring stuff along the way, I would just grab one of those empty ones and put them in there. And on prior trips, that would have been accomplished by putting it in like a shopping bag, or, maybe bringing an extra backpack is what I did a lot of times when I was thinking ahead. But because I'm throwing everything in a big backpack, it becomes a bunch of shopping bags in a big backpack, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's not as durable. It's not as easy to like get through, and it's not as secure, I guess, as these nylon things. And the ones I have are made out of recycled materials as well. So I think that's kind of cool that like that end result of recycled plastics is not soft like fabric, so people don't want to make clothes out of it, and it's not necessarily strong enough for some construction stuff. So I found, I just like the idea that this is a great use for that type of material as well. Let's see. So I don't know how big a deal that is for people, but it's like a side benefit of it. Again, I'm waiting for my phone to catch up with what we're doing here. I didn't really click on those. I can see that people are clicking on things and following through on some of these products. So thanks for that. I guess we'll go into the kitchen next. And I'm kind of going through a list of gift ideas that I posted and put into a ideal list here on Amazon. So you can check out the ideal list. And I wanted to have kind of sections to it. The food section, I included the tortilla maker. And this is one of my favorite kitchen appliances. And I don't know where everybody falls on, oh my goodness, on kitchen appliances. But because a lot of times people don't want to have another appliance for some task, right? And I'm sort of there. Like, I don't, if you had an appliance for every task, you'd have a kitchen full of appliances. But every once in a while, an appliance either does so many tasks or does a task that you do so often, like so well, it's just worth its, floor space. It's worth its place in the lineup. And I believe this is one of them. This one, I actually wore this one out. I need a new one. I literally wore it out. I used it so much. So here's a recipe that an old family recipe I invented.
How long it takes to make some tortillas with this Star Blue tortilla maker. First thing we'll do is plug it in so it can start to heat up. It's like a waffle iron or something. It just is on when you plug it in. The light is on, and it's going to go to somewhere between medium and minimum and maximum, somewhere in the middle there. And we're going to use some of this Minsa instant corn masa. And we'll just put some in here. People read English. And then just put some water in there. I don't really measure. We're just putting some in there. And we'll start to mix that around. This is warming up. And little puppy wants some tortillas already. He's getting mad. So we'll start to mix this up. And there's 2 ingredients here. Maize and water. I like to use a fork because then I'll just bust up these clumps into the flour. And, you want it to be a little bit somewhere between bread and biscuit. This is a little, so we'll put a little bit more in. If it gets too dry, you add more water. If it gets too sticky, you add a little bit more flour. And I like to kind of crumble it as opposed to attempt to mix it into a big ball right off. Even though I'm spreading some on the table here, this is, to me, it's a lot less messy to do it with the fork. Probably a million ways to do this. Could probably accomplish this in a big baggie or something. It might be faster. So essentially we're trying to just distribute that water out to as much of the flour as possible. And this is still heating up a little bit. All All right, now we can get into it. I usually start by, once it's like that, I'll just start smashing it against the side. She said we. So this has been kind of flaky, airy. As we start to smash it a little bit into dough, it's going to get tougher. So you want to work with it the least amount possible. So it's a little bit dry still, but of the bowl, and that'll form sort of a dough, and it'll get larger and larger clumps as the powder disappears and the water gets distributed more and more. And if you've got the right consistency.
And this is all the longer it took to heat up the tortilla maker too. So it didn't need a long time, really, just as much time as it takes to smush up the tortilla goo.
See, you can bring it up, get it to form a bit of a dough. It's not going to stick to your hands too much. If it's too dry, it'll flake and it won't ever form a dough. And if it's too wet, it'll stick to your fingers in the bowl and everything. It'll be a batter. So we're trying to get it between a batter, well, nowhere near a batter, I guess. We want to get it to be a dough. And this is a lot easier to deal with if you're not trying to do it in a bowl in the video here. So if you're just doing it on the counter or something, it's a little easier. And as you can see, it's now a dough. I don't want to work it too much. Then the tortillas get a little tough. So that's about enough. It's a little crumbly, so
it's pretty airy and crumbly right now.
Just get a little bit more water. Get it in there a little bit, and then we'll chop this thing up into a thing. We just now got it to heat. If I would have been measuring or a little quicker, we would have been just about right on the dot with finishing the dough at the same time we finish the thing is preheated. Let's get a little messy here and just finish. Once you get your big glob of dough, I find the easiest thing to do is
88 people watching. Thanks everybody for watching. Feel free to ask questions.
And use a knife or something to divide it up like a pizza. And once you've divided it up, you'll have 8 sections. Then you can take those 8 sections, cut them out of there like a piece of cake or like a pizza or something. You'll get that section, turn it into a ball. And if your dough is just the right amount of ratio, you make like a disc here.
A patty.
This might still be a little bit dry.
You could call it
but
a
essentially
patty.
That's all we need. 2 ingredients, water and corn. We'll move the water out of the way so I can do this. And then I'll just put it in here and squish.
And those are like Teflon, flat Teflon discs.
Let it start to open up. I think it's a little dry. These edges would be a little nicer if it was a little moister. But I think you get the idea.
You get the hang of it pretty quick when you're mixing it.
You end up with,
and it's simple to add a little water.
Flat tortilla from that ball. You get the ball from taking your main wad of dough and cutting it into pizza slices. And you can just squish them as thin as you want them. They're going to come out super nice. Now you can add ingredients if you really want.
This isn't necessarily your little thin
corn and water
tortillas for making burritos. This is more of like almost closer to a sopapilla. Is that the right word? So a little meatier, great with toppings and stuff. Stuff maybe you're going to eat kind of tostada like. Is that the right word? Or you're going to eat it open face. So not so much for wrapping. I guess you could do some taco-y stuff with it. All right, that's about the end of it. And I didn't let that cook all the way, but you get the idea. So we'll disappear that one. And the next thing we're going to talk about in the kitchen would be from our friends at Vivor. And this thing is super cool. We all make sausages at home, and we're all doing it the old-fashioned way.
We needed a new sausage stuffer, so this one is from Vivor, and this is about 24 pounds. You can see how big the box is. So let's open it up and take a look at it.
And it looks like people have already bought this one today, so thank you for buying the Vivor sausage makers.
Right on the top. Pull off the center of the foam. You can see that it's basically in here. Let's
And
take
of
it out
course-
and take a look at it. Yep, it's literally completely ready to go.
I know you're saying, why do you have the medium size Vivor sausage stuffer? Why didn't you get the big size? And I just couldn't talk myself into the larger size one. You know, in a lot of ways, the larger size one could be the way to go. It's the same floor space, you know, the same amount of footprint, I guess, wherever you're going to be setting this up. It's just taller. But yeah, in any case, this is the 5-quart, I think, the medium size. That's it coming out of the box though, and then we'll take a closer look at some of the accessories and how you work it.
As soon as you get it out of the box, you'll just need to put on your extrusion tubes, depending on if you want thick, thin, or skinny
Are you making brats? Are you making hot dogs? What are you making?
sausages, hot dogs, I guess. And then you've got two different adjustments over here. You've got quick and you've got slow. So depending on how fast you want to move this.
So that's like the gear ratio of how fast that plunger is going to start squishing sausages out of that tubes. So let's see how fast these things go.
Really want to get it up and down, then you use the higher crank gears. See how fast that moves the pin. Or if you want to be
like, let's say you're making some kind of loose sausage slurry, you could use that faster speed and really stuff sausages at tremendous speed. Or if you're making a stoutier sausage that's crumblier, maybe less juicy, then you're going to want to use that slow speed, right? And deliberately smash it through there into those casings.
a little slower, you can go that way. Once you bring this thing all the way up, of course, comes with a couple of gaskets. Then you can pull that container out for cleaning. Very strong, all stainless, easy to clean. Another excellent product from Vivor. Can always trust them with things like this. Hope this helps.
And again, all stainless construction. Let me open this up and see if anybody's saying anything over here. Oh, this is the one that was 23 seconds long. So this is the one that people are watching. Okay, just wanted to make sure we weren't missing any questions over here. So all stainless construction, easy to clean, and very strong construction, very stout. So no matter what sausages you're stuffing, the Vivor's got you covered. Let's go ahead and minimize this one. I do think I have this one also.
My new
another
Vivor sausage stuffer. So they make a couple of different sizes. This one has the place here where you're going to put your sausage in. So if you ever wanted to make your own sausage, you knead up your own recipe with your own ingredients, put it into the big cylinder here. That swings open so you can clean it, of course, and fill it. And then you've got this plunger that I'm going to push down, and I'm using the high speed right now. I could also flip this over to a much lower speed as well, and that's going to push and then extrude the sausages into your filler tubes. You can put your sausage casings on here. You got a bunch of different diameters, everything from little cocktail franks up to bratwurst. This thing is really neat. Can't wait to get using it. It's from Vivor. They make a bigger one too if you need it.
So think about those people in your lives that are smoking, barbecuing, and roasting or whatever they're doing, or what's the other one, griddling, you know, summer sausages, breakfast sausages, and stuff like that. Next level is get your own grind and get your own spices and level up.
A little smaller one too.
Level up to stuffing your own sausages. I don't know what the deal is with aging stuffed sausages, but maybe that's a thing too, you know, that you could ask a sausage stuffer about that one. So what's the next thing on the list? I'm kind of going in order. I'm going to go back to the beginning just to make sure we didn't miss nothing. We started off with, and I think the center of the show is the electric dirt bike. So again, I don't know, guys, girls, young, old, everybody would want an electric dirt bike. Number one, it's a dirt bike, so you're tooling around, enjoying life on a dirt bike. Done. You've already sold me, right? But an electric dirt bike, now it is an electric one, so there's no sound. You're creeping along up on critters. seeing birds and stuff like you like never. And also, you're not bothering anybody. You're just doing your thing and living your life, running around in the mountains, in the desert, or whatever, on the beach, wherever you're allowed legally to drive around. You can now be doing it on an electric dirt bike. Price is right, and it's like what, a third off or something right now. So again, I see the people that are, it tells me not who's clicking, but how many people are clicking. It's like 100 people watching right now, and a whole bunch of people have clicked on that electric dirt bike. That's what's up on the screen on the Amazon side. That's the way to go. Then we took a look at the Jeep, the Hyper Go H12Y is what they call it. And that dirt bike is so freaking amazing. Am I allowed to say freaking amazing? I think I can. It is so fun to play around with during the night, oh my goodness, quit doing that to me. During the night,
Taking a look
day,
at some up.
We're going to pull this one back up. And like, I can't even explain on video how detailed
Close
this is.
piece of features.
I think in this one, I go into the instructions a little bit, and like, I mean, you can take apart the wheels, you can take apart the transmission, you could take apart the suspension, you can take apart the drive stuff, although it doesn't have like a regular drivetrain, but it has like an electric motor out of a drill. You can, it's just so neat. Like, I don't want it to break, but when it breaks, I can go get parts for it and fix it. And that's neat when you're investing a couple of beans into an RC car. Now, it's heavy because it's all this aluminum and metal in it. The plastic parts are decent plastic, so you know they put their effort into making this thing worthwhile. So it's dense. Like when you pick this thing up, you know you're picking up something, and what that equates to is like a realistic look when it's driving around out there. It doesn't look like a toy, like flopping all around like a piece of plastic, because it's basically like a little mini heavy-duty truck. And the suspension is like a 12-inch, no, it's not 12-inch, but however many inches the travel is, like it, you know, it actually does a decent job of like, so, you know, judging from the camera that we stuck in it, does a pretty decent job of keeping the vehicle itself like smooth. So if you were driving in it, or when you have a camera in it, it actually drives pretty smooth. Anyway, so let's take a look at this thing on the table.
Of this Hyper Go 12-in-1. So if we open up the hood, there's magnets up here, and there's hinges in the back here, and that's how you open it up. So just lift up on the hood. Now what's also cool is you can pull off these little tie downs and lift up the hood there too, which is pretty sweet. These are all plastic body panels, but they're heavy duty metal frame. Let's open that up again and take a look at the frame on this thing is all metal. This engine is heavy duty. The components are engineered and well thought out. All the suspension and everything, super well made. We got the battery back here under this little strap. We can pull up that strap, pull out the batteries. Comes with 2 batteries right away. 1500 megaamps.
Now I guess I haven't really worn down a battery yet, but I'll put the batteries, every time I run it, I'll put the batteries in the charger, and I'll usually unplug the red plug so that the thing's not connected to the motor when I charge, but I'll leave the battery in the machine, in the robot, or in the RC car, I guess. And it's not technically a robot. So I'll charge it when it's in there, but I'll disconnect it from the motor basically. And then whenever I finish charging, I'll plug it back into the motor. So when I charge, it takes like 2 hours or something, like less. It actually, I'd given it 2 hours. I'm sure it took somewhat less than that 2 hours, but it took less than 2 hours to charge after running it. I guess probably about 45 minutes, maybe. It seems like 40 minutes, maybe half an hour. I haven't really timed it. I'll have to do that at some point. Time how long I can play with it. I basically get bored playing with it before the battery goes dead. And then I don't do a good enough job of swapping out the batteries, but it does come with 2. So that means you probably play with it for a good while. Like I say, enough time to let more than one person take control and have some fun with it. You know, depending on what you're doing. I have played with it just out camping, kind of driving around a big circle, and had some fun with it, and then got sick of it and put it away. then in my backyard, I have a big loop I can run, and I'll walk behind it and run. And it's just kind of fun to watch this thing drive in front of you as you're doing it. And I'm playing with which cameras I'm going to put in it and stuff. But like I say, I'll get sick of driving it before the battery runs out. And that's what I'm looking for in one. You know, I'd rather me get bored of it before it junks out on me, right? So anyway, super impressed with the battery. And then however long I've used it, again, I guess I haven't timed it, but in the amount of time it's taken me to get bored of playing with it, or maybe I have something else to do. I'm not going to say like I get sick of playing with it. I could probably play with it all day, but whenever I can't play with it anymore, it doesn't take but 2 hours and the battery's good to go again. So in other words, it's not something that you play with it for 25 minutes and then tomorrow you can play with it. I have had remote controlled stuff like that in the past, and this is impressively not like that.
They strap in so that you don't lose them. You can charge them from when it's inside the vehicle if you want to, or just plug the vehicle in like that and it's ready to go. The power switch is up front here. When you turn it on, there goes your headlights. You got your brake lights. There's directionals and there's reverse backup lights as well. Everything about this is realistic, super cool. It's my favorite remote control car. This is what I've always wanted to get when I was a kid. Finally got one. Looking forward to using this one even more out in the yard and when we go camping. Hope this helps.
I literally cleaned up my yard so that I could play with this thing more. Like, that's how good it is. Like, it made a grown man clean up his own yard because I wanted more yard to play with.
I've seen a lot of remote control cars in my time, but this one has definitely my favorite. Everything you see is in the box. It includes everything you need. This is the Hyper Go, the 1 in 12. One of the things that's neat is almost everything's metal. All the parts, you have a complete breakdown of every single component, every single part and gear.
So I kind of showed it there, but again, you can take it all apart with just the manual that comes with it. How cool is that? And imagine giving this to a youngin' who's still learning everything and having the ability to take a component apart. Again, I don't know if I would want to take it apart on my brand new one or anything, but if something happened, you know, being able to get that experience, that gain that learning, rather than, okay, it's time to buy a new one, you know, is your only option.
It's real easy to use. You've got the remote control that comes with it. I went ahead and installed 2 rechargeable AA batteries. You flip up the top, it's magnetic. So the top has a hinge in the back and it's magnetic. We'll turn on the receiver. It'll start blinking green. There's a little button here. We'll turn that on. Now they're connected. You've got headlights. You've got tail lights when you go forward and when you go back. You've got directionals. Very neat. Everything's LED. This thing is quick. So this is your steering.
And if I would have paid more attention when I was filming that, when you turn left, it's a blinking directional. So as you turn left, like, it'll blink to the left. It's really neat. And it's actually pretty helpful when you're far away from it so that you can kind of orient which way it's going.
And this is your throttle. I'll go ahead and drive it into the box here. This one climbs well. You can probably climb it up that vertical wall and back there. See that? This thing is really cool. It's all metal, so it's pretty heavy. It's really well made.
Did I say it's all metal?
You can take it all apart and put it all back together. Comes with some extra parts and tools. 2 batteries right away. Really looking forward to playing with this one.
You could tell I was stoked when I got this thing. So I got it at a great price. It's at a great price right now. This is the kind of thing when I would go to a hobby store when I was a kid, would be $1 billion. Out of any price range reasonable. I would have to have won the lottery or something to ever even considered getting one. And it would have been a motor back in the day to make it this cool. It would have been a real motor. And I'm not saying I don't want one with a real motor in it still. That's a whole another level of like stuff to play with. But now you're not just playing with it in the backyard when you feel like it. I can literally just go feel like it, go pick this thing up. I plug in the power. Like I say, I unplug the power from the battery. I don't know if I need to. I just do that. But all I have to do is plug it in, plug the battery into the powertrain or whatever, and then turn it on and then turn on the remote control. And once they take a second to sync, I'm playing with it. Now I usually fart around and put a camera on it. So it's a decent enough platform that I'm having fun trying different cameras. Now, that being said, I haven't found the perfect camera yet. Right now I'm strapping drones to it, trying to get a drone that has good stabilization so that I have a stable camera on there. But I'm also going to play with taking some of the bumpy footage and putting it through stabilization in my software. So that's for the nerds out there that might be thinking about that. I'm going to keep going. We talked about the boombox from AWA. Super cool. We talked about the Polaroid GO, which is the new smaller Polaroid. But then if I go to here and then bring this up full screen again, we can talk about my laptop, which is showing a video of the remote controlled video we just watched there a second ago. But we're talking about the laptop itself. And I mean, if you've been watching our stuff for any length of time, you know that my stuff was a lot more glitchy. I had a capable computer, but you can see how clean and nice it is. This new Dell that I got just a couple of months ago. Awesome. So I won't get into all the specs because that's nerd stuff, but it's a capable laptop. And because I still like to have more than one monitor, we went with this Gowfolk, Gawfl, Gowfolk. And look at how wide this is. I don't know if I'm allowed to show all this stuff, so I'm going to pull all this stuff back down again. Or I'll put it over here for now. Pull this down, though, because I don't know what they're supposed to do about prices, what we're allowed to show with prices, but that's what I had on the screen there. But look at how big that monitor is. This is under 2, and now it's well under 2. So, yeah, like this is the way to go. This is how big this monitor is. So let me, I think I can show, can I show? No, I don't want to show the live stream itself. I don't know what I can show on here, but this is a full screen over here. And, you know, I can have 1, 2, 3 of them almost on this screen, and probably 3 if I were to stretch them or whatever. But, you know, aside from what I'm allowed to show on the screen or whatever, you can see like I have enough space here when I'm running my video editor to have previews technically is over here, I guess. All my source stuff, and my source stuff is huge, like big previews. And then all of this room for, what do you call the timeline or whatever that part's called. And because it's right here and it's this big, I don't have to squint to look at any of it. I don't need a magnifying glass. Boom. And imagine for games, I think that's what they're probably made for. Like, it's probably great for games and all that. It can connect with HDMI. It can connect with the other things. I forget what they all are. So in other words, whatever your computer can do to jam high quality video over to it, like, it's capable. I did a driver update. I did a video on that a little earlier in order to make sure everything was good to go on this guy. But super impressed with it. I've had it now weeks. I haven't had it that long. I waited till these amazing deals that are happening right now. But now let's take another look at this watch. It's been charging here while we've been chatting, and it's up to 59% charged. So this one is, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect. All I got to do is pull it apart. There's 2 magnets and then 2 little metal-y dealies. And that's what connects on the back here at the bottom. In the middle are these little eyes, and those are what attach to you. Like, they look at your wrist and they look through your skin, I think, and see your blood, or I don't know what they do. But they, that's how they monitor, that's how the watch monitors things like your heart rate and your pulse. And I think that's the only 2 things. Maybe it can measure more. Let's take a look at what all it can do. So I clicked on, there's 3 buttons, 2 on this side, 1 over here. And I bring that up because different watches have different interfaces, like different manuals of use, right? Sometimes they have 4 buttons, and that's usually going to be let's just say that's a configuration. And then 3 buttons is a configuration. I have watches with 2 buttons, of course. And then guess what? I have buttons with 1 watch, or watches with 1 button, right? But there's also the knobs. And that's pretty much what I've been using lately is the 2 buttons and a knob. With 3 buttons, though, I find it kind of intuitive. 4 buttons, in my opinion, gets kind of complex because for whatever reason, they've got the buttons, they want to use them, so the interfaces kind of get pretty complex. With 3 buttons, it tends to be like select, backwards, and then like engage. So, you kind of get used to like, you kind of need this one once in a while, and you rarely need this one kind of thing. But anyway, that's all I did is I clicked on this button, and then that gave us the list of apps. And now it's like a smartphone or something, like it's a screen that can deal with your finger on there. So I'm just scrolling like I would on a phone, and then I can do this. I don't know if it uses 2 fingers or not. So see what I did there is I probably should have hit that back button. So what I did is I was in here, I probably clicked on, let's say I clicked on alarm. Maybe I clicked on timer. Yeah, I clicked on timer accidentally or inadvertently. What I should have done is click on back, and that would take me back to where I was. So if I meant to click on calculator, but oops, I clicked on timer. If I click on back, I'm right there and I can click on calculator. But again, I accidentally click on timer. I want to go back. If I click on this button, it takes me back to the clock. Not the biggest deal in the world, but now I have to click on this to get back here. And potentially if I waited too long, when I clicked back here, I would be way up here. So is it tedious? Is it something difficult? You get used to it really quick. I imagine it's about the same as getting used to a TV remote control or the dashboard of your vehicle or something. So anyway, there's 3 buttons on it. It can do all these different things. We're in here looking at the apps. It can answer your phone. Daily activity, I'm not sure what that is. It might be a calendar that interacts with the app. So, your phones, we talked about the Samsung S24 Ultra, which, let me bring that up on the screen real quick, I've had a bunch of phones, and this is my current phone. And, tell me I put it in here. I didn't put it in here. I've had it in so many of the other chats. I guess I didn't put it in here. But the Samsung S24 Ultra, got a couple of them. Super capable phones. They're going to go till 7 years into the future. So I chose those. This thing connects to an app on the phone. And then with the app, you can do like enhanced things and kind of set yourself up to do things. Let's take a closer look at what all this thing's got, though. So it can make calls. I was going to say daily activities, probably something that you do with the app. Then you got workout, which is probably, I was going to say it was it's probably a plan or something. And then that's like during the day, it's where you can check in on it, because then right below it, it says workout records, which would be like an archive or something. You've got heart rate, which when you click on something like heart rate, you're going to get what it is, right? Like that tool, let's say, but then you're going to see like there's more. So you're probably going to be able to get to your archives or your records or whatever you want to call it through that area also. Sleep is to like monitor your sleep. Blood pressure, guess what? That's your blood pressure. Blood oxygen. So I guess that's another thing that the robots can scan through your blood or through your skin. Stress, it must know, if you're getting stressed, probably because of these other indicators, right? Then you got emotion. Don't ask me. I don't know. Measure, tap to measure. Well, that's an interesting one. I wonder if that's some sort of, because it's got GPS in it, maybe you can tap this. Please wear the watch properly. I wonder what that's measuring. That's interesting. So I have no idea what that one is. Let's just go back though. See, now I'm back to here. Music, it's going to connect to your phone and play apps or play music from your phone, basically. I don't have it hooked to a phone, so it's not going to play anything. Oops, whatever that assistant was. I don't know what the assistant one is, so I can only tell you the ones I know. Weather, guess what that is? Oops. Then we have compass. Compass is neat, although because I haven't used it in a while, it's going to make me kind of go through a procedure where this thing goes through space, knows where it is to the satellites, and then can finally tell you where it is. So it's kind of like a GPS type of thing. I can either hit this button and I'll go back to the list, or I can click this button and go back to wherever it was, where it was on the list. Barometric altimeter. So it's able to know where it is in space, but then it also has sensors for the watch itself. And then one of them is the barometric pressure. Breathing is totally separate, right? It's going back to those sensors and it's watching you do stuff, I guess. Notifications is going back to the app, basically going to your phone and your app saying, anytime my phone gets a notification, tell it to my watch. So now you can leave your phone somewhere, leave it in your purse, leave it in your pocket, and then the watch is going to, be another thing letting you know about what's going on. Stopwatch, obviously, an alarm clock, timer. So, stopwatch basically, or no, a timer is more like the other way around. Stopwatch is, let's see how long something takes. A timer is, we got 30 minutes until. So basically clocks. Calculator, remote shutter. So you connect this to your phone. Now you set your phone up, to take a picture, run over in front of it, click this, and now it's like having a third hand to be able to take a picture really far away. Flashlight just turns the screen white. And if I click back, I'll go right back to where we were. Find phone must be some way that it connects to the phone so you can find your phone, I imagine. Women's health, I have no idea. And then settings. And I think this is, again, just the selection that was on the watch when you buy it. Then you can go to the app and decide if you want to add even more. Now, you can also remove a lot of that stuff. If you don't need women's health on there, you can remove that. This is all kind of at default right now, but because it doesn't bother me, I'm not wearing this watch every day. If this was the watch I was wearing every day, I'm going to remove that because I just don't want it, on there all the time. So I'm not using it. And I could do that to any of those items in there. And so that basically streamlines it down to where you just have less clutter. And if you decided later, you know what, I do want women's health on here, just go to your app and kind of recheck the box and it's back on here. So these aren't permanent decisions. These are just the same way as on your computer, like this Dell laptop. If I wanted to change this setting so that it's not an orange background color anymore, if I wanted to make this picture my background color, that's a temporary decision that I can always rethink. Just like the watch face. If I want to change the watch face, I come in here, go to settings, go to watch face, just scroll through to a different look for the watch. Here's a weird, much different look. This one says 12:57. I don't know why it's not 12:57 right now, but and then it has things like your steps each day. I don't know what that one even is. Oops. And then I don't know what that last one is either. So maybe this is for somebody doing bicycling or something, because it seems like it's how many miles maybe in a day, and then how many calories perhaps in a day. In the center there, it says 50% battery life, and then the date, right? So let's say that one isn't your style. So we're going to go and change that watch face. Here's a more classic style. It actually, you can see gears in the background. It actually looks like a fancy, old-fashioned watch with gears and stuff. We've got the standard clock face. We've got the phase of the moon with an actual, I don't know how well that's going to, here's something we can change real quick too. How long is this going to stay on before it turns off, right? And it keeps turning off on us. So display duration, we have it set to 15 seconds. I'm going to set it to 60 seconds. And you might go, well, why wouldn't you always have it like that? Because that'll waste the battery. You have the screen on way too long that way. But for our purposes here, now we can look at this screen, and for a minute, it'll take 60 seconds before it decides to turn off for inactivity. But I can't get it to focus, but that's the moon with like a really neat, three-dimensional image of the moon showing us the moon phase. This is a little tiny compass. I might leave it on this face actually, because that's a little tiny compass right there. And then this indicator is telling us how many steps we've taken today. And then they almost always tell you the battery life. So I'm guessing that there's a little health bar kind of thing at the top of the miles. I'll bet you that's battery life, but it might not be. But anyway, so each of these faces is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and just scroll back up and choose a different one. This is the one we started with. I don't know what's going on with this one. This is probably some artist that's affiliated with the company or something, and that's representation of that. There's that one from the beginning when we were looking at it, and it just says Monday, and it's got the old-fashioned stuff going on. Really, that's the only thing going on with that one. It's kind of a simple one, but again, these are smartwatches, and sometimes you might want to, ironically or not, get away from all the clutter. Like this one right next to it has, so much more information going on: the day of the week, the day, the month, steps, amount of battery that's in here, something about your blood pressure monitoring. I mean, a lot of stuff is being displayed here. It has arms like a stopwatch, like a standard watch, but then it also has the display version. So really neat what these things can do in under 100. Am I allowed to say that? Like, I don't really know what the rules are on that, but just a great deal. So if you know somebody who's like, oh, I should get a smartwatch, but I'm not sure, I don't think you can go wrong. It has everything that my fanciest smartwatch has, except for the price, really. It comes with 2 bands. Now, it is the thicker type. Oh, see, that's where it's trying to zap my wrist to see what my pulse is or whatever. It is the thicker type, and again, with 3 buttons. And there are other types, right? There's the slick type, the really, thin, trying to look like what you'd want to wear to like a nice dinner or like an event. This is like what you want to wear camping. Like this is kind of like an everyday one, but it's I don't know, it's all black, so it's not like trying to be flashy. Some of them are like gold or flashy silver color or like 2 tones and stuff. You can kind of accomplish some of that with the watch face. You can make it kind of flashier or more subtle, but the watch itself, I would say, is kind of a low pro. Even though it's a meaty watch, it's low pro. As far as battery life, I guess I haven't mentioned that yet. They usually last, once you charge them, if you're using it constantly, and not like right now, I do have it set to stay on way too long, just for the video. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because that will be annoying. Not so much because I'm worried about the battery, but because it's just super annoying when your watch stays on. You don't realize it unless you've been wearing one of these, but it'll just go on sometimes inadvertently. And it's not a big deal. Like, you don't have to turn it off because it goes off again. But when you've got it on and it doesn't go off, then it's annoying because it's like, I got to go turn it off. And you really can't turn it off. It has to time out on itself on its own. So now I have it set to time out after 15 seconds. And we'll watch. By the time that minute or that second hand gets to the top of the numbers there, it'll time out pretty quick. And you get comfortable with that because, again, not so much for battery life, although it's amazing for battery life, but it's just less annoying. It's less distracting. If it's nighttime and you're watching TV, having this thing light up is annoying. So having it shut right back off is, fine. That being said, battery life can vary depending on how you use it and what all apps you're using and how much you're fiddling with it. But days to a week, I'll put it that way. I've had some of mine that can last easy a week. My best ones, my most expensive ones, actually have the best battery life, and those can be a long time, but I think they have solar panels in their screens, which is one of the reasons they're so expensive. So long time, weeks. This kind, I would say probably days and days for sure, if not a chunk of a week, like most of a week. And that's, again, looking at it all the time, using the stopwatch once in a while. Occasionally I'll use the calculator. Alarm clock's going off once in a while. I have an alarm clock for the garbage guy. Sometimes, occasionally, somebody will have a show on live on a Saturday night, and I'll have an alarm clock for that. So there's things that you'll use it for, and essentially negligible battery life or usage from all that. All right, so assuming you're still live, I keep forgetting to check over here because the phone is where all that's happening. We were taking a look at the watch Now let's take a look at a whole bunch of people, it looks like, have grabbed the cigarette lighters. I could look at them again if you'd like. We looked at those. We looked at that. We looked at this. We looked at the sausage maker? We have not yet looked at this Mantis Retro controller, I guess you'd call it. It's for the PlayStation 4, of course, or for the PC, which stands for personal computer. So it turns out you can use this on a personal computer. Now, I grabbed this one, honestly, to gift it, but then I ripped the box pretty bad, so I'm thinking I might not gift it, because the other reason I might not gift it is once I took it out to look at it and do a video, I was impressed with how rugged it is, how sturdy it is. So it's got a couple of, what would you call these, like trigger style curvy buttons. Got regular buttons. This is a giant button. You turn it on up here. USB-C to charge it up, of course. You got your standard buttons for your different stuff. You got your home thing here. And it's all pretty handy. Pretty solid, I guess I should say. So you've got your buttons underneath here, and then you've got your adjustments here. You've also got a switch underneath here that's kind of like one way or the other. I'm not sure how many of these map out. I'm pretty sure most of them map out, though. And again, good, comfortable size, super solid, like well-made plastic, the joints and everything. Really comfortable in your hands. I know that's a big deal. Super important. And USB-C rechargeable. So think about gift ideas. Again, when we're talking about, let me do this. When we're talking about under 50, you know what I mean? And then on sale to boot. It comes with all the cords, of course, and the guides, like anything. So that's the Mantis. Put that aside. I don't know how many people were looking for something like that, but had it here. Figured that's a good kind of a gift for a lot of people, right? Like a wide area gift. Is that the way to say it? Oh, I put these in a drawer. Hold on. These next things we're taking a look at are in a drawer. Are really cool when you go fishing. So anybody you know that goes fishing out there or just hangs out near a lake, well, I'd say a lake in this case. Now, if you know somebody who hangs out by the ocean, well, that's a little bit different. You're going to want a different style than this. We'll talk about that here in a second. But this is the world famous Finor, and they come in this nice rigid soft case with a nice zipper and a grabber on there. There you go. These are the green and grays. And if you take a look at their site, or if you take a look at the Amazon listing, the colors are kind of for different things. And the greens are for lakes as opposed to oceans. And they're kind of a wide spectrum as opposed to like dark or bright. They're kind of a transition or a both. So you can get different colors, different kind of, I guess, what would you call it? Like opaque, how different levels of opacity? I don't know what to call it. I'm not sure of the whole thing, but you can get different ones kind of tuned for what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be daytime, nighttime, if you're trying to cut the glare, they're all going to cut the glare off the water, let you see through water without a lot of fatigue. You know, they are designed to reduce eye fatigue and vision type exertion. And then, of course, they're just more of a kind of a mix between a goggle and a sunglass. So they are sunglasses, but the shape of them and the nature of the material and the nature of the design kind of puts them right on the edge of being a goggle. So again, the concept is you're fishing with these. You got the spray, you've got just splashes and whatnot, you know, from the motor, from the fish, just whatever, even just a wet fishing pole flopping around. So to protect your peripherals and your insides here, there's just a good design for that. And then again, they got a bit of a shape here to help with a cap or whatever. that you're probably going to be wearing. They've also got vents here that don't allow water to get down through them. So they just have a nice design. Then again, impact resistant, like good plastic with a rubber overmold. So this gray part on these is rubber, and then, you know, they're soft. And then this inner part is adjustable, and it is also rubber. So again, polarized. You can kind of tell there when you look at the screen what we're talking about, kind of polarization in action. Oh, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of hard to explain that sometimes, but you see how the box isn't sending out weird waves or whatever like the screen is, obviously. So no problem seeing that. So imagine if this was, you know, interference from the light on the, you know, ripples on the water. This is to help eliminate that, but you're going to see right through everything that actually exists out there. But because you see how this gets darker here, that's where some of the other colors come in, and they some people will get like a blue color or the gray color, I guess. Like I say, I'm not into all of that. They come along with a sticker, which is always handy, I guess. You can stick that on your boat, but a microfiber cloth. And if you notice, there was some kind of smudge over here I'm gonna have to wipe off. If you wipe that off with the standard piece of cloth, and this applies to any kind of nice lens, right? Use a standard cloth. It only takes 1 or 2 abrasive grains in a material, you know, just something sloppy in a material to create a scratch on that surface, you know, lens in this case on the glasses, but, you know, binoculars, whatever. So these microfiber cloths, a lot of people disregard them. They're not giving you these to wipe, like, you know, snot or eggs off the front, but they're for that kind of thing where you have a scratch or a smudge and you don't want to get a scratch. So now you can come in and with minimal pressure, usually, no cleaners necessarily. Most of the time, this is just like oils and something. Sometimes it's worse, like an adhesive or like a solvent or something. But a lot of times it's just something, you know, somebody sneezed or somebody bit a tomato or something, and, you know, something's on there. And these microfiber cloths essentially won't or can't scratch, but they can absorb and pick up. So without being abrasive, they're able to grab whatever might be there. And again, it can be a spectrum from all kinds of different materials and stuff. So without being too crazy, because I can't really see what I'm doing there, I was just figuring this is a good opportunity to talk about like a smudge like that, using these microfiber cloths that come with like something like a high-end set of sunglasses like this is the way to go. Because again, it just takes 1 or 2 passes with a inferior cloth, let's say, or a cloth that's not designed for that, and you'd have scratches. But anyway, that's what it comes with. And then of course the paperwork. So that you don't lose them. They come in a nice semi-soft, or whatever you call this, like soft, rigid case. Pretty nice. Great gift for that person who you think has everything on their boat. Do they have polarized glasses for their type of fishing from Finor? Maybe not. Maybe they do already. They're pretty popular. I've definitely been going long enough that my phone has decided to keep going off. So I apologize for having a break to do that, to bring it back on every once in a while. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the X reel. And I really should have put the phone in here. I don't know why I did it. But taking a look at the X reel, let's see, we want the 1 Pro. And this is the X reel. I think this is the other one. So we want the X Pro. Yeah, this is the one. So they've got a couple of different X reels. We've got a couple of different pairs of them here, but the one we're showing off on the Amazon right now is the 1 Pro, and these are augmented reality glasses. So you're going to see through these, right? If I bring them up to the camera, you can see through them just fine, but this screen here is going to add stuff to the screen. So it's not like a virtual reality where you put these goggles on and then that's your new reality, and you know, you're in the spaceship or you're in a dancing party or whatever happens in these virtual worlds. This is just the regular world, but it's going to add stuff to it. And you'll notice that unlike those polarized glasses we were just looking at, you're still going to see your computer screen and everything. But let's say you wanted to bring up a computer screen. With these, they plug in with this USB at the end of the one ear thing. These ear things are soft, and there's a cable right here that plugs in. That's going to plug into your phone, and now your phone's screen is going to appear. Now what's neat is you can have it like anchored to your, let's say where you're looking, let's say, or like anchored to space like in front of you, so that, let's say, I got a cough. They should give us a intermission button or something. But I got the coffee. Hold on. I did not bring enough water for a 2-hour show. We just hit the 2-hour mark and I had a coughing fit. Sorry about that. 200 people watching right now. Thanks for that. Thanks for asking questions. Whoa. Yeah, I need to get some water. Got like a hair in my throat or something. Sorry about that. So you plug these things into your phone, and then let's say your phone's desktop is going to show up. It can be anchored to the glasses, or you can anchor it in space. And now your glasses are all around, but you're going to put your desktop over here, let's say, because, you know, it works. You got your keyboard here. Let's move all this stuff. Let's say you got your keyboard here that you're working on, or more likely, let's get rid of some of this stuff. I got so much stuff on the keyboard here. Now, more likely, you're using your phone, right? And you'd have it this way, but, you know, you're using your phone and you're going to have your glasses on, and now you're going to have, I don't know, a dashboard or something come up. You can stick it right here and it can just stay here. Now you can look around, live life or whatever, and every time you need it, you can just look this direction and there it is. But sometimes you want something to be like, I need this data, like I'm playing a game or I'm flying a plane or something, and I want to have this data as like a heads up display no matter where I'm looking, and you want it anchored somewhere in your vision. Like, I'm just using this as a reference, but you know, it could be anywhere. And that's what's neat about these, is they augment reality. They're comfortable. They look like they're bulky, but this is all like hollow. I don't know what's going on over here. It doesn't weigh anything. They weigh like a pair of goggles, maybe, like, you know, lightweight goggles, or maybe like I was thinking work glasses or safety glasses. They don't weigh as much as they look like they weigh. Now there is going to be a cord coming off of here that's 2-3 feet long that goes to your phone. So, you know, they are going to be tethered to your phone in a way. So they're a little bit more complicated than a regular pair of glasses, but they're not, I don't know, like a huge night vision headset or anything. Now your glasses have, or these X1s have speakers in the frames here, up on top and down below. So that gives you great sound. And then you've got a couple of buttons here, like a couple of toggles here, and this red button, which allow you to get a lot of work done or whatever, stuff done with these things. Now, here's what I want to do with them. The reason I bought these is to fly them with my X1 or with my Neo, my DJI drones. So the Neo can fly with an app on the phone, and then this can, display that in front of me. So really looking forward to accomplishing something like an FPV. My dog is getting antsy here, and I don't know why. But I think it has to do with POTTY. Am I allowed to spell that on these shows? But I think if anybody with a dog knows what I'm talking about, he might also just want something to eat. He is also pretty greedy. So anyhow, that's the X-Real 1 Pro augmented reality glasses. I would say I have yet to determine just how amazing these are, only because I got them, literally bought them because I wanted to be able to I wanted a challenge of setting these up with the Neo, and I haven't technically accomplished that, but I've watched enough people do it that I'm confident that that'll happen. But in figuring that out, I ended up finding a lot more projects I want to do with these. And like I haven't done it, but a couple of times now in the last couple of years, I've needed to ride the bus when the vehicle was going in for repair and stuff like that. And one of the things that bothered me about that was how much time I was wasting just on the bus. Because, as nice as a bus might be, if I'm going across town or whatever, it's just going to take some amount of time. And I'm really liking the idea of being able to get work accomplished on the go, so to speak, because for me, at least, there's not much I can do with just my phone. There's some little tasks and things, but most projects just require more space, more stuff going on. And I'm looking forward to being able to use essentially a computer desktop with just your phone, using these as the monitor. Sorry, I'm having such a coughing fit. Now, I know that sounds weird, saying using these as a monitor, but once you wear them, imagine having these monitors just hovering in space, or putting these monitors in front of you on the bus. Like if, this one is here and this one is here, but you're sitting on a bus instead of sitting here at a laptop. So now you're using your phone, but the cursor and everything is going around and doing stuff over here. And I haven't used them yet with my computer, just with my phone. But again, I'm really looking forward to what these things can do. I see a lot of people clicking on those. I'm curious, if you want, let me know in the comments here. But are you clicking on these because you're curious, or are you clicking on them because this is something you've been, or I guess I'm asking, is this something that you've just discovered, or is this something that you've been looking into? Because for me, it was something that I wasn't looking for, but then when I discovered them, I became very interested in them. And I went with the X1s, or the X-Reals, excuse me, the X-Real 1. I'll be honest, because I like the Ray-Ban look. And they do make some others that are not Ray-Bans, that are different companies and stuff. And, I've thought about getting the, what are the other kind called? The other ones aren't VR. They're, or maybe they are, but the ones that have the cameras in them, the things that these don't have is a camera. They're not really designed to be content creation. These are more like to be monitors, basically, to be it's more than just to replace monitors. It's like a different type of monitor. It's the same way that an FPV drone is different than a regular drone. This is like an FPV monitor, I guess is the way to say it. Maybe that is the way to say it. So it just kind of lets you know what it's like. That movie where Tom Cruise is the future cop or something, and there's those little balls and those ladies are in the water and remember the future or something. When that guy's wiggling stuff on the screen and just like moving stuff around with his hands and stuff's happening, that's kind of what this is like, minus the hand movements and stuff. I don't think they can do that, but having like a big wall of data, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like having this big 35-inch monitor, like I say, on the bus, in an airplane, just wherever you happen to be. Although I guess people are telling me you probably couldn't use this on an airplane. I don't know, because they don't let you use your phone. I think you could use it in airplane mode, but I don't know. Anyway, we won't worry about that. So that's the X Reel 1. And they do make a couple of different X Reels. So check them all out and see what ones. I went with the ones for a number of reasons. But like I said, they do make a couple. I actually have two types. The ones is the second one I bought. They also come with the microfiber cloth and then, of course, the cable. They come in a different type of case. This is more of like an actual rigid case, and they're kind of a pill. And I like that because when you're carrying them around and putting them into backpacks and stuff, this form factor, this like big pill kind of shape, works great. And then it's flat on the bottom, so it's not going to roll around. And then they don't charge when they're in here because they don't charge. They don't need power. They're always plugged in because they're kind of like a monitor. So the case can just be a case. It doesn't need to also be like a charging vessel or something. All right. So the next thing, again, I probably should have brought the phone in because really that has something to do with the phone. And then these AirPods have something to do with the phone. So these are Apple AirPods. I know these aren't anything new to most people, but to me they are. I guess I don't need to open the box because they're not in there. But that's the box that they came in. And again, I saw these and they're at a great deal, like everything this week. They're on a good deal. And I just got these the other day. But I've been going through pods or whatever you call these things for my phones quite a bit. And I always hear people talk about AirPods and how good AirPods are. A lot of the people I hang out with in real life use the Macintosh phones. So I'm familiar with the accessories that they work with and stuff. And, they have, can't they like be found or something? Like they have a lot of features to them that you're, $59 sets that you can find at the cash register when you're leaving a store or something don't have. So I really like those features, but I always thought they were not going to help me out because they were for Apple. Well, yeah, they're for Apple, but no one told me you can use these with Androids. So yeah, I bought a set and I hooked them up to my Androids and it's nothing to do. There's a little button. This is getting washed out because of the color or whatever. There's a little button. You can kind of see it right here. And you just turn your Android on to listen and you push that button and then boom, it finds them. It asks, are you sure you want to connect? And you say yes, and you're good to go. So they're pretty handy, as you can imagine, like a lot of Apple stuff. It's well thought out, well made, good materials. That comes with a couple of different tip sizes. So I put those, the right ones that are comfortable. And then the stem, they call it, this part, is actually somehow like that's a button. You just squeeze it, and that's a button. So that's how you control them. You can be listening to something on your phone. I usually use them to listen to videos and things, or to listen to music sometimes. And let's say you got to pause or whatever, you just touch these and that's how you pause. And then you touch it again and it keeps going. It can accept phone calls, the stuff that a regular, the cheap ones can do, except obviously quite a bit more. Now, here's the thing. When you use them with Androids, they don't have all the features available that they have on the Apple and the Macintosh phones. But, they are the quality and the ability of them is all there. So, yeah, I think it was worth it. And now I know what everybody who has AirPods is always talking about. What happened here? Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with that phone. So it looks like that's the end of the list, perhaps. We talked about the AirPods. We talked about the X Reel 1 Pros, which are the augmented reality glasses. We talked about the Finor sunglasses that are made for fishing and are on pretty amazing. That's 23%. I don't know what we're supposed to be able to talk about over here. All this stuff is on amazing deals because of the week, right? We looked at that game controller. We looked at the meat or the sausage maker. I guess meat sausage maker is redundant, but you could probably make a vegetable sausage out of there. If anybody needs a recipe for a vegetable slurry that you're going to make a vegetable sausage out of, let me know, and I can maybe we can make a video on that or something. But then let's see, we got the tortilla maker. Yep, we're clicking through these things on the Amazon side for anybody that's watching us. I don't know if I can make that happen on the screen here. We talked about that set of luggage organizers, super handy. Can't recommend them enough. That's the kind of gift where somebody's like, oh, really? Oh, wait a minute, really? And then they really appreciate that gift. The little shaver that's USB rechargeable. A whole bunch of people have clicked on that one, so thanks for that. And then the emergency fire blankets is on like as a extra like an accessory to fire extinguishers and other things that's that spray on a fire. The blankets just smother the fire. We had the retractable emergency ladder, so that's pretty handy for folks who are on the second or third floor. Then the KVM for switching out different computers with the same keyboard and mouse. That was in the Unitix box here. Looked at that one about a half an hour ago. Then we have probably the most popular item of the night is the cigarette, or the 12 volt. I'm probably not supposed to say cigarette lighter these days, but the 12 volt extension, which takes your 12 volt and gives you the 3 with switches. So if you're using one for like a light or a fan or something, you can use this to switch that light or that fan on and off. But in addition to giving you 3 12 volt cigarette lighter plugs, you also have 3 USB-A's and another USB-C down here. Not to mention the plug itself has a USB-C along with the power plug. So that's a handy little item. Has a cool carbon fiber look to it. And not a lot of extraneous packaging. Very cool product. And again, the most popular product of the night, hands down. I don't know how many of them people bought. Let's see. Then we had the smartwatch that, what happened to it? It was sitting right here. Oh, I just got set on top of it. The smartwatch that again has lots and lots of great features. Under 100. It's at 50%. I don't know what we're supposed to be able to say about that kind of stuff. The monitor over here to my right, my 34-inch monitor. I'm not allowed to show all that stuff. 34-inch monitor that we've showed a bunch of times. Again, amazing deal on that one. The laptop, which is the thing powering this whole show. There we go. And the Polaroid GO, their new generation, second generation of Polaroid camera. Instamatic, you could say, the thing that kind of started Instagram, you could say. We took a look at that the AWA boombox, the HyperGo remote controlled truck, and then of course, let's not forget the electric dirt bike. So then, thanks everybody for joining us tonight and being part of the show. We'll say thanks and see you all next time. 2 hours and 19 minutes of Amazon. It's over. This dog is upset. He is not happy. Oh my goodness, look how many people are live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people were live right now. I forgot how many. I should have taken a screenshot. 200 and something people were watching. So thanks to everybody who's watching over here. You didn't say nothing, so I don't know who you are. I'm assuming I still am broadcasting, but if we're not, then you wouldn't tell me if I'm not, because you're not there anyway. I'm going to let this poor dog outside. He's a poor animal who doesn't need left outside.